did very, very well. And I'm very, very glad to be with all of you in church this morning. It's a blessing to just fellowship with the brethren and to see your faces as we fellowship around the table of the Lord. So if you're here yesterday, you heard about my life. I'm from Kenya and a missionary in South Sudan. You heard about my background biologically, where I was born and where I was raised, my salvation testimony, and my calling to the ministry. When I surrendered my life to be in the mission field, I just never knew how God was going to work. But as I look back, I see that He's done a wonderful job, and I'm thankful for that. Right after my high school, and I joined Bible college, both of my parents died. They died in an accident. And those were dark moments. I had to drop out of college and help my elder sister raise our siblings. But after 3.5 years, I went back to Bible college to get my degree, and God pushed me back to get in the mission field because that's what He had called me to do as a child. And it's been an interesting journey. So serving in South Sudan, even though God had Sudan in my heart from the time I was 12, it just didn't happen overnight that I woke up in the morning and found myself in Sudan. That's our flag there, and it speaks volume. Black represents the color of the people. Red is the color of the blood that was shed for independence. Green is agricultural, even though we are not doing much of agricultural, but the land is fertile, we can do agriculture. And white is the color of peace. We are seeking peace and star there, and blue is the represent hope that South Sudan has. And we can review this a little bit, like if you talk about South Sudan is, Arizona gets into South Sudan 2.5 times. It's a huge country. And why South Sudan? Why do I have to be in South Sudan? Number one, it's because that's where I feel God called me to be in, and that's where I have peace with. And as I can just remind all of us, like when I was watching television with my dad, those pictures just stuck in my mind. I wanted to go and talk to people of South Sudan about Jesus. And so today, we still have to learn another word, a different word in South Sudan. Yesterday, we learned about greeting. Now, today, we want to learn about saying God is good. So you say, Rabuna Kwes.
Rabuna Kwes.
Rabuna Kwes.
Rabuna Kwes.
Sakulu.
Sakulu.
Yeah. God is good all the time. So I'm going to say Rabuna Kwes, and then you respond. Okay. Rabuna Kwes.
Sakulu.
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 Okay. You're supposed to say Rabuna Kwes. Okay. Rabuna Kwes.
Sakula.
Sakulu.
Rabuna Kwes.
Okay. God is good all the time, and all the time God is good.
Amen.
Well, you have another word in Juba Arabic. Woo-hoo. You can speak 2 languages. So it's, why do I have to be in South Sudan? Decades of war. South Sudan is a country known of, like several years of civil war. They are people that I deal with who were born, raised, and are elderly. All they've known in their entire life is just war. South Sudan is 11 years old. They just gained their independence recently, and they're still working on building their nation. All the things that have happened in that nation, you can see when you're there, the effects of all the war that has been there. It's just a different world altogether, but they need Jesus. Over the years, many of South Sudanese ran away from their homes because of civil war, and they were in refugees camps, both in Egypt, Kenya, Uganda, and Ethiopia. After their independence, they've just been coming back in their country, and it's these faces that every single time I wake up and I think about them, I'm like, I have to be in South Sudan. I have to be there because they need Jesus Christ. So after my graduation from Bible college, I headed out to South Sudan in 2017. God allowed me to be there, and when I reached there, my heart was at peace. I knew this is where God had always wanted me to be. I had no question that's where the work seemed like it was going to be huge, but I knew that's where God wanted me to be. The ministry that I have been serving with since 2017 was planted by a missionary, a veteran missionary who's been in Africa for over 40 years. After South Sudan gained their independence, they felt of the Lord that they needed to go and plant a church in South Sudan. And so they planted a church there, Bible Baptist Churches of South Sudan. And so in just 2 years before I joined them, and then I went out there to help them with the ministry and with the workload that they had. They only had a church going on at that time, and they needed a hand with someone who would help train Sunday school teachers and help coordinating the things in the ministry. And God worked it out well that I went over there. In South Sudan, I'm involved majorly in 3 different areas. There are other things that I get to do, but I'm involved within the church, teaching and training Sunday school teachers, and also teaching in Sunday school class. And also within the school that I just started before I came to further my studies here 2 years ago, we have a secondary school or high school, and I also visit other schools within the area because my Sunday school kids are in other schools, so I get to visit them. And we also deal with the community in helping them with health and providing food to those who need some kind of help. So that's my Sunday school with some youth. So I have several kids that I get to deal with. I'll talk about first of all the school. I started the school in 2018, just before I came in 2019. And our school, we only have 1 block currently. We'll work on having other buildings. We try to be a good testimony with everything that we do. We believe that, and I believe that God has the best, and so we have to present the best in the community as a testimony before people come in. What they see, first of all, should be a testimony to drive them to see what is it that's going on. This is very, very different. Why are they very different? So that's one of our aims. This is the very first group of students that we had in 2019. I had more teachers than students. I had 8 teachers and 7 students when we began the school. But God has been so faithful. In the last year we had about 56, and then this year we've had about 79 students. And this next academic year we are looking into 120 students. Amen. So this is from this January when I went back to check on the ministry and just make sure that everything is going on well. So God has helped us in the ministry that we have a school. And why do we have a school? You may ask. South Sudan is 80% illiterate. So sharing the gospel becomes a challenge when people cannot read and write. And so we use education not because we just want to make them know how to read and write. We want them to be able to read the Bible. Mm-hmm. And they are going to be the very same people who go to their own communities and teach their own people about Jesus Christ. So we want to equip them with the knowledge on how to do that. And because elderly people that we have, we can't change the past. We focus on the youth and the children. We tap them and bring them, so as they come to church, they get to learn about Jesus, and then they come to school, they are taught, and then as they go outside, they can use the knowledge to talk about Jesus Christ. So that's one of the classroom and students just resting there. One other thing that I do is visiting schools, because I have so many kids. We only have high school, and most of my Sunday school kids are in other schools. I go visit them and teach them about Jesus. Schools are open to the gospel. They're like, okay, just come. If I just make an appointment that I'll be coming on Wednesday from 7 to 7:30, they give me time. And other men that we are working with, and we can share the gospel. And my kids are always happy when I get to go see them in their own school. And it's always a great joy sharing Jesus Christ with them and the entire school. The other thing that we do, we are involved with in ministry is feeding program. The feeding program, we just take kids who are in danger, serious danger. So what we use, there's a WHO tape that we use to measure who is in danger. If they're in red, yes, they're really, really in danger. If they're in yellow, they're like, yeah, we may have you on a wait list. If they're on green, even if they don't have food, you don't take them. Or even if they're sleeping on the bed. But so we have currently 100 kids that we have registered in the feeding program, and the ones that have been in yellow. Because South Sudan has been a country that has been torn with war, they don't have lots of stuff. And one of the things that we do as we focus on feeding them, the goal is to tell them about Jesus Christ. So when they come, they wash their hands and they sit down. The first thing they get taught about Jesus Christ, they are taught a Bible lesson before anything else. They memorize verses, and then after that they can be fed. And after they've been fed, as they go home, we also have opportunity with parents who bring their kids to be fed and tell them, spend 15 minutes with them and just tell them about Jesus Christ. And it's a great blessing because I've seen so many boys and girls giving their lives to Jesus Christ right in the feeding program. And it's just a huge blessing that God has given us. And then the other thing that we are involved with the community is providing water. People don't have water within our area. We are about 4 miles from River Nile, so most people just walk to River Nile, get water, and then go back to their homes. And to help them out, we have a borehole. We dug a borehole, and it's solar powered, and they come get water if it's there. If it runs dry, then they wait until we have more water, and then they come. And it's a blessing because one thing that we do, we set an audio Bible reading by the water station. As they fetch water, they get to hear the word of God. They go back home, they come. So no one is over there telling them anything, but they get to hear the Bible being read to them over and over again. Amen. That's our main goal, introducing Jesus Christ to these souls as they get to hear. Mm-hmm. Now, the other thing that I do is Sunday school. So in Sunday school, I have about 13 Sunday school teachers and helpers that are helping out, and I've trained them, and it's always fun. I love my Sunday school kids. If I have a Sunday school with 185 in the morning, that's a very bad day, and I'm a bad mama, because I have to ask, where are my kids? Where are they? So it's just, I love my kids. And something that encourages me the most, see, the kids that is feeding in the feeding program, we only give them food Monday through Friday. And some of them, that's all they live on. They have to wait until the following Monday. And those are the very, very same kids who be the very first people in Sunday school. I mean, I'm like, I just love seeing their faces, like as they come in the morning, very, very well they've not eaten anything. The only food that they've eaten was the last meal that you gave them on Friday. And there they are, Miss Saada, in Sunday school, early in the morning, even before adults come in. Whether it rains or it doesn't rain, I have to be there. There's just no other place I'd rather be in. It's just fun. So my Sunday school, we still meet outside by the house, the container house, and it's an L shape, so I have kids on one side of the building, and then the other side of the building. So they sit, and then I stand in between and then get to teach them about Jesus. And several of them have received Jesus Christ. It's just a joy knowing that they've been saved and they're being nurtured and they're growing in the knowledge of Jesus Christ. I also do special event for them. If they memorize their verses for like 8 weeks consecutively and they know all of them perfectly, then it's party time. They can come and then just celebrate, just have some sweets, candies, and juice, and they go home celebrating that they had a birthday party or something. So special events, it's just fun having them. And I'm also involved with youth ministry, training young people, having their youth ministry, youth fellowship every Friday from 4 to 7. They come, we play games, they watch videos, and then they get up to have a Bible lesson. And then it's just fun as we get to read the Bible, go through the Bible, and see what God wants of their life. I'm also involved with women's ministry, leading in Bible studies and training other ladies on how they can teach the Bible to other women, which is a marvelous thing, getting to tell them that they too can be involved in ministry. This is my favorite of favorite, if you have, this is the cream. Truth Jesus Club, I love this one because they are English speaking, those know how to speak and read in English. Usually they are like high schoolers or those who are in middle school. They can read and write in English. And what I do with them is on Sunday afternoon, they come back. I use mailbox club lessons and child evangelism class lessons. And they come and they have their own lessons. They fill them in, and then we have a lesson that we go through, and then after that we get to play. But they are a special group because they're not only the ones that have led to Christ, it's more of a discipleship class, and they're getting trained on how they can also witness. One of the things that I do with all of them is teaching them to lead people to Christ using their fingers. Use your fingers to lead others to Christ. And they have to lead me to Christ. I've been saved several times. All of them have to lead me to Christ so that I know that they're doing it well. It's just fun having them every Sunday evening, and they know how to read and write. They are good ambassadors. We were talking about ambassadors today. They are good ambassadors that go out and they can tell other people about Jesus. And they are very special to me, like as I sit down with them every Sunday evening when I'm back home and to go through their lessons just on the porch of the church, and we are discussing whatever they are learning. I see hope. I see a new South Sudan. I see churches being planted in villages that I'll never ever go to unless I'm going to visit them. I see missionaries coming up. I see pastors. I see Sunday school teachers. And what else would I ever do? If I have to do this, I just have to keep on. There's just nothing else I could do. Why does it matter to me so much? It's because these kids, they've received Jesus Christ, yes. First of all, I'm obeying the call that God gave me in my life to go and preach the gospel. I'm obeying that voice that I said yes to when I was 12 years old. And the other reason I do it is because of these kids. This is one of my favorite things in South Sudan. It's just behind the church. I call it the Rock of Remembrance. So in 2018, some of my boys and girls in Truth Jesus Club, after we were done with class, they went outside and went to the rock, wrote their names on rocks, and my name too, Saada, our teacher. So every time I pass by those rocks, and I see one of them not coming to church, I call them, take them to the rock. You're the one who wrote your name over there. And my name is there too. What does that tell you? You're supposed to be coming to church and following through with the commitment that you had made before. And it's been a good testimony. I love my Rock of Remembrance. I can use it to remind them of where they've come from and where they've promised that they'll be going to. And one of my special kids, he's never missed school. He's 18. He's going to turn 18 years old in a couple of weeks. Is Francis. Francis, from the very beginning in 2017, when I led him to Christ, he's an orphan living with an aunt. He was like, I think I'll be a pastor when I grow up. So it was really, really good, and he's just one of the kids that God has used. And I'll just tell you a little bit about him. Other kids that have led to Christ and are currently Sunday school teachers and are helping is Esther, Janet, Julia, and of course Francis, Osvaldo, Joseph, and Franco. These are just a few of them who are not only helping in Sunday school as Sunday school teachers. I've enrolled them also with Child Evangelism Fellowship, but they've also committed themselves into full-time ministry.
Amen.
Most of them are in our high school. Double deal. So we get to teach them in church, and we get to teach them also in school. And I'm looking forward to seeing what God is going to do to their life. Just this January, when I was there, I was talking to Francis, and he said, we were talking about his future life. He's in 9th grade now. He said, Miss Saada, you remember when you first came in 2017 and you led me to Christ, and I said that I wanted to be a pastor? Like, yeah, I remember that. He's like, yeah, I just wanted to remind you. I'm going to be a pastor. And I told him, I'll do all that I can with the help of God. I'll begin looking for a Bible college, because we don't have a Bible college in South Sudan currently. I'll make sure that I do that. How can I not be there? How? And so for people like Francis and many other kids that I see there, I have to be there. We have two categories of needs. Being there has lots of needs. We have personal need, and I have ministry needs. We have salaries to pay, we have buildings to build, and also the help that we are giving out just to help us have opportunity to reach people with the gospel of Jesus Christ. And in South Sudan, I'm there to serve. I've committed my life and I've committed myself to be there. But I am not God. I can't provide for myself. I need people to hold my hand. As I go, I want people who send out support on my side so that I keep being there and I don't move away. So this is how you can be part of the ministry that God is doing through my life and the ministry as I serve God in this, in a small picture, in this big picture. You can pray. You can pray for me, pray for safety, pray that for the souls that are getting saved, pray for our ministry to keep on having good influence within the community. Because South Sudan is currently open for the gospel. You know, like if we had missionaries coming in, flooding in every single day, we won't miss it. You know, like go plant church there and we won't miss it. There are too many people. When I first went there in 2017, in Juba there were slightly over 500,000 people. Currently, there are over 2 million people in Juba. So it's growing very, very fast. People are coming back from refugee camps and we need more missionaries. And those who are there need to be prayed for. So I'll urge you to be praying for me and for the ministry as I serve over there. And you can also give for personal or ministry. As we get funds, we get to reach more people with the gospel of Jesus Christ. You can also tell. I know the news has issues. You know, when you watch your news, when they talk about Sudan, they'll talk about all the bad things that are happening. Let me encourage you to talk about what God is doing. You know, let the news say all the bad things they're saying, but tell everyone that if you have to talk about South Sudan, God is doing something great in South Sudan. There are missionaries there, and people are getting saved. Give people hope because God is at work in South Sudan. So you can tell other people, and you can also become a missionary. You can be a short-term missionary or a full-time missionary. You could come and help us do whatever you can within a short time period or in a long time, just surrender your life to be in a long-time ministry. And just note in South Sudan, there are other places that we've talked about. You can give yourself to be a missionary there. And so you may join me in any way that you feel God leads you to, but I need partners to partner with me as I keep on serving in South Sudan. And these are the information about my sending church and my mission board. And all the support is being received by the mission board. Thank you very, very much for having me here, Pastor. Thank you for just having me come here and present my burden and my passion for South Sudan. I really appreciate that. And in South Sudan, we say shukran, which is thank you. So, shukran.